The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business. From $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, REALTOR SEO.
Welcome to the Icons of Real Estate. I'm Tim Calloway. We have a very special guest for you today, Lisa Parenteau from Cape Cod with the Lisa Parenteau Team EXP. How are you, Lisa?
Magnificent, Tim. Thank you so much for asking. It's actually a snowy day here. We've not had much snow this year at all, but it's always a beautiful day on beautiful Cape Cod, I love to say.
Heck yeah. I'll tell you, I've been there a couple of times. I used to live, as most people know, I used to live in Connecticut. And so I've been all around Boston. I've been to Cape Cod. I've been to all these great places. A lot of folks just get to hear about, but I would definitely recommend if they're ever traveling or, if they ever really wanted a nice seaside home, it's a great place for it.
It sure is.
Lisa, I'll ask you the same question I ask everybody else, and we'll get started that way, and then I'll let you tear into it from there. But I say this facetiously and as it's kind of a fun icebreaker, but were you a child of 5 years old tugging on your parents' pant leg saying, hey, mom, hey, dad, I want to be a realtor when I grow up. What do I do? Or are you like most of us where we just fell into it?
I would kind of say I fell into it. I mean, I think I went to school I was a sociologist, which does absolutely help you in sales. I'm a salesperson, so I happen to have rediscovered real estate for sure. No, I went to school to be a sociologist. I have a degree in secondary education and sociology. My mom always said, you need to have a teaching certification in your back pocket just in case something should happen. You can always make a living for yourself, especially when I wanted to pursue sociology. And everyone said, what the heck are you going to do with that?
What do you do with
that? Yeah. So, but it continues to, really inform and impact the way I look at the world and the way I handle situations. The study of kind of how people move in the world and come together and is really an interesting way to look at the world. And it has absolutely shaped my paradigm and my thinking. But real estate, I started in the 90s, 1993. It actually was a career that I thought, I have young kids at home. I was kind of preparing to leave my first husband and I needed to figure out some kind of a job. And real estate in the 90s was very different. There were no buyer agents, right? There was like 6 towns over and everyone was wondering what the heck was wrong with that guy,
Right.
We were all seller agents. The interest rates were 13, 14%. We thought life was great. We all lined up outside to present our offers in person to sellers. It was just a very different world. So I sold from 93 to 98. I continued to, now back then, 98, many people might not remember, you were talking about records and people not knowing what those were. But back then, the internet was just really starting to, come together. We had the of AOL. Yeah. And I started to fool. I always had Macintosh, Apple computers. I was fooling around a lot with computers and built a small website somehow. Don't ask me. Built a small website for the real estate company that I worked for in Melrose, Massachusetts, which is on what we call the North Shore. And then the Century 21 in town asked me if I would build one for them. And then my career continued to morph over time into technology and technology sales. I mean, I pretty soon realized that, me being in a room, banging away at a computer was not the best use of my time and talents, but it brought me into more into technology and technology sales. And so I did that for a very long time. And then I've been back in the real estate market now since 2015. So I kind of look at it as my very first career and my last career. So
kind of sandwich or book, what do they say, bookends?
Yeah.
Some people like bookend careers, right? I've heard that before. So let's talk about, so now we know kind of how you started, now how you're finishing, but let's talk about where you're at now. It's the, Lisa Sells Cape Cod team. Is it a team or you're a solopreneur? How does it, or who's on your team and how did you go about finding them?
Yeah. So when I came to EXP, which is where I have been very, very excited and happily since February of 2020. I'm a pandemic baby. So I didn't
Oh,
know at the time I moved over. I looked like a rocket scientist a few months later, but I came over with a gal who was on my team, who I consider a listing coordinator. A big part of my success has been working with my friend Robin. So I am an outward facing team. I have people on my team, people in my small organization, but I refer to, I have people here on the Cape that are in my Lisa Parenteau Team organization. So I have Lisa Sells Cape Cod team, which is the real estate transaction piece, and then the Lisa Parenteau team, which is really my revenue share organization within EXP Realty.
I see.
So those folks would be here on Cape Cod, and I have referral relationships with them. We all come together, but everything I do at EXP, all of the value add stuff. In fact, I have a guy coming on to do a session on ChatGPT next Friday. So I'm always looking for ways to offer value, and I always open that. They're for my team, they're designed for my team, but they're always open to agents anywhere. And so that's just kind of, part of my wiring, what I love to do.
Fantastic. So you had mentioned earlier, before we even, I think, went live, about some of the work that you do with associations. You want to talk about that a little bit? I know you definitely wanted to discuss that and how important it was.
Sure.
And how it kind of built you, right?
Yeah, sure. So I think, some people are wired to get involved at that level. I served on a school committee for a number of terms, and I was part of the Mass Association of School Committees. When I look back at my life and different kind of careers that I've had, I've always gotten involved in the association. And so I think part of that is a drive to be part of building something, contributing to something, certainly to a profession, being committed to a profession that you're in. And real estate is really fantastic, because if you're a realtor and you love being a realtor, we're all entrepreneurs. Usually, if you continue to surround yourself with people who have had some success in real estate, they're highly motivated. They find ways to, kind of navigate and MacGyver their way in and out of lots of situations. And it's just a group of people that are very inspiring to be around. So when I came back to real estate in 2015, my first real estate coach, Judy Kent, who I love to refer to all the time, who was with one of my brokerages that I was at prior, said to me, there's two things you have to do. And I was like, okay, Judy. She said, you need to never miss a National Association of Realtors conference. There is no reason to miss that. It's once a year for a couple of days, and the other 20 or 25,000 realtors who really care about their profession will be at that event, and you need to find a way to get there, and there's no excuse. And I'm like, okay. And the other thing she said is you need to be a CRS. And I was like, okay, what's a CRS? I had no idea what the Residential Real Estate Council or CRS obviously was, because I was a new agent. But I said, okay, Judy. So I have never missed an NAR conference, and I'm very excited to report that this year I am on the National Association of Realtors Conference Committee, which is a really fabulous NAR. Yeah, it's a very, very nice committee. I've been on committees, which I'll talk about at NAR, but this year, I'm on the NAR conference committee. So we just got back from Chicago last week. We were there for 3 days, and we had planning sessions talking about how exciting this year's theme and like color scheme. And, the marketing department comes before this group of the group in total is about 50. We were about 40 some odd at the meetings last week. And we really make a decision about the theme and say which direction we like to go with the colors and all of the artwork and the graphics and shareables and all that. So very exciting part. But so anyway, so that was it on NAR. Never missed that, and have the great fortune now of actually serving on that committee. But also in terms of CRS and RRC, I had no idea. I was new, as I said, back to real estate in 2015, and there was going to be, I'm on the Cape, there was going to be a luncheon, an annual meeting luncheon in like Burlington.
Mm-hmm.
And which is about 60 miles away. I mean, it was a half a day event, from up and back. But I got in my car and drove up. And the minute I walked into the room, I was like, oh, here are my people. People were very professionally dressed. They were very welcoming. They were smart. They were funny. It was just a really energizing group of people. And I thought, I've found my tribe. And over the years, I have really found my tribe at the Residential Real Estate Council. So currently I serve as the regional vice president for Region 3, which is Kentucky, Tennessee, North and South Carolina. Previous to this year, I was the president of the New England region, 6 states, for 2 years. Okay. So I have continued to hold leadership positions in the Residential Real Estate Council and love my family. there. And that is probably my most favorite volunteer activity. CRS members, designees make up now only about 2% of all realtors, because you have
Wow.
to qualify by
Yeah.
level of production as well as keep up continuing educations every year. So it's a great group.
Yeah, I always tell people that's a fantastic story, Lisa, for sure. And I'm glad you found. This is what I'm going to mention. You found your tribe, your people. I always tell young agents that it's not until you can elevate yourself to a certain level and hit either certain numbers, goals, or whatever, that you can really try different levels of things, whether they're organizations, associations, groups, or whatever it might be. That you'll really find areas that you never even knew existed, or knew that there were a group of people like that had the same like skills, values, and thought processes that you do. So I'm glad that's something that you found, for sure.
Yeah, sure. I remember the first conference I went to. We have a conference that's actually coming up next week. We'll all be in Atlanta together it's called Celebration. Once a year, we have our conference. And the first year I went, I noticed that there was a line to get in the door of the last session of the last day. So that just gives you an idea. Like, people are not going and hanging out at the pool.
Right.
I mean, maybe, but not the people going to Celebration, right? I mean, you really
Right.
go because you want to up your game.
Right.
And you know that these are top level realtors. I've been involved in the selection process for years now for the speakers. And one of the questions always is this a session for CRS designees?
Right.
Because it needs to be it's not at a beginner level. And not that we don't have members that are also part, and we, encourage membership beyond the designation, but it's a certain quality and level of education that I have not found anywhere else in our realtor community.
Nice. I love it. I love it. So tell me about, we're kind of winding down to the second half of the podcast here. So tell me what the next 1, 3, and maybe even 5 years look like for Lisa, and how do you plan on getting there?
I guess I would really combine it with some of my association volunteering and goals. I have the great fortune of being at eXp Realty. So a friend of mine quoted this, and I think it's a great way to look at it, that at eXp, we have 3 lanes of potential income. We have our transaction lane,
Right.
which is always important and we love. And as a salesperson, I love nothing more than to get a signature and hear a bell ring. That's just kind of
Right.
my hunter style of selling. But we also have our equity piece, which has been really great. I have iconed in these first 2 years. So in addition to the stock that I've been given because of my sales production and that I purchased, I've also been given 32,000 shares of $32,000, not shares. $32,000 of
So you got 32,000 shares.
and then there's also the revenue share. The revenue share portion. So next 1 to 3 years absolutely has me spending more of my time working on growing my organization organically, through kind of the activities and the value add and the attraction activities I do, but also, honestly, I guess, as a side benefit of all of the volunteering that I do with the association. So when I attend something, I'm a huge RPAC investor. I invest at the Golden R President Circle level. So I will be going to President Circle in Cancun at the end of February.
Nice.
March 1st through 4th. So being at those tables, again, is something that when you volunteer for the association, you're going to, inevitably be sitting with others that have such a commitment to our realtor profession, to our realtor community, but also a passion for trying to lift others as we climb. That's a hashtag that I love to use all the time.
I'm going to use it on your thumbnail.
Please do. When I first started attending President Circle, there was only about, honestly, under 1,000 of us in the entire realtor community. So that group of people meeting together and listening to the likes of, the events and the speakers and the networking with those folks that are so committed to advocacy and really understand at a very high level the power of who we are as realtors. And that only comes from your volunteering and your commitment, I guess, so the next, year to 3 years is continuing to work in those capacities as I continue to have leadership roles within the association. It puts me in a great position to be an advocate for eXp Realty and to not kind of, I don't think I'm offensive with it, but people continue to know that I am there. And also being at that level, I'm able to set up meetings with people that are very meaningful for everyone
Yeah.
involved.
That valuable resource to everyone, for sure. For sure. Lisa, how would someone get in touch with you? Maybe they want to be part of your team. Maybe they want to list a home. How would someone find you?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, it'd be kind of hard to say. If you Googled Lisa Parenteau, you will definitely find me everywhere. But
Mhm. my
email address is lisa@lisasellscapecod.com. So that's probably the easiest way to find me. My phone number is 617-797-7990. Happy to hear text from anyone if I can serve, or else, or really talk about a volunteer association, what that work has meant to me. Also about the Realtor Political Action Committee, RPAC, about Realtor Relief Foundation, any of those things. More than thrilled to share my thoughts and passion.
Fantastic. So the last thing I'll ask, and I ask it of everyone, is one of the first question and the last question. Everybody gets it. Share something, positive about either your career, yourself, your family pet, whatever it might be, something you think the world needs to hear about that comes from your heart, your mind, your soul. Take us out on that.
I will. I would say that the thing that is glowing from my heart at every moment and has grown my heart to places I never knew was having my granddaughter Eloise Ann every week for at least a day and a half. I call myself a glamma.
There you go.
And if you having a child who runs with their arms wide open towards you, every time you see them, there's just, you can't bottle that. As much love as you have in your adult world, that kind of, unconditional feeling from a child, and especially a child that comes from your child, is an
Right.
experience that I treasure every week and I'm full of gratitude for. And I hope for everyone. So I guess that would be
Love it.
how my heart has certainly grown, for sure.
I love it. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that as well. Lisa Parenteau, Cape Cod EXP, thank you so much for being on the program today. I look forward to catching up with you over the next 3-6-9 months, seeing how things are going as well.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for asking me, and I look forward to hearing it as well.
Have a great week.
Thank you. You too.